And welcome to What You Missed When You Didn't Exist. I am Corbett, and I am 52.
And I'm Lucy, and I'm 22.
And Lucy, I'm going to tell you about a magical place today. A place where dreams were picked up off the shelf and taken to home and given a whole new life, and then immediately charged for the second you didn't return it on time.
Mm.
That place,
So
of
books.
course. No, better than books. Videos. I'm going to talk about a magical place called Blockbuster that doesn't exist anymore, although technically I think there's still a few stores that still exist outside of the corporate venue.
Mm.
There is still a
Okay.
place where people can rent videos, movies. At the time, it was VHS cassettes and Betamax. I think they came out in 1985 was when Blockbuster started. Video stores, I think, started a little before that. I probably remember my first one, Ripley's Video, back home. It was just like a little barn. They literally just kind of built a barn and put a video store in the bottom and had a video rental place. You'd go and rent videos. It was literally the mom and pop store that was local to us. And that was
Huh.
probably I want to say 1981 or 82. Videos were real expensive. At the time, a video cost around, I want to say $40 to $50, and equivalently, that's like $100 today. Probably more than that.
For a VHS tape?
You would own a movie. You own
It's
it.
so
You could watch that
expensive.
movie anytime you want. And the thing is, they realized like nobody's going to spend that money to buy this movie. But would you spend $4 to have it for a day and watch it? Well, that sounds like a great deal because I want to watch it, but I don't know if I want to own it. So you'd go in and you'd walk around. I think this was kind of the fun of it. It basically is a library of videos. You walk around, you look at the type, you find the thing you want to watch, you pick up one or two. It's usually a thing you do on a Friday or Saturday night when everything was all rented out, so you wind up getting whatever's left over because you stopped in way too late in the day instead of doing it on Thursday like you should have done, but that was your fault.
Okay.
But you come in on Fridays. Fridays are when the new releases would come out. You go, say, oh, that movie just was out of the theaters like 6 months ago. Man, that is hot off the press. I've got to watch it. The cool thing is, videos became the way that a lot of cult movies would start appearing because people could watch them in video, but they never went to see them in the theater.
Oh, okay.
Trying to think that a lot of those horror movies of the 80s that probably weren't that interesting. I mean, well, they're fun. Evil Dead. Evil Dead is a great one for that. It is a super
Mm.
awesome cult classic that really would have never been seen had it not been for the video world. It's I mean, it's sad to say, but theater was dying off. I think I still remember a few of the big theaters that would still have like intermissions in the middle of the movie, but those very few and far between at that point. By the end of the 80s, that was all gone. You didn't go to the theater as an experience. You went to the theater because you could. It was just the way everything kind of was going. But you would go pick up these movies and you'd have like, hey, we're going to watch this show. And of course, back then, everybody had one television. Everybody would watch at the one television. You'd wind up renting probably something popular, something that mom and dad want to watch, and something that the kids want to watch. And it's just a matter of who goes to bed first, which is usually the kids. So they get to watch their thing, and then off they go, and the adults get to watch whatever they want to watch. And I will say, Blockbuster was not they. When I say adult videos, Blockbuster never had a adult section that I'm aware of. Maybe specialized non corporate ones, but the corporate ones never had it. Although they started in '85, I worked for them. I actually was a manager for them in California when I was out there, and then when I moved back to Texas, they started in Texas actually. Started in Dallas,
Oh,
Texas.
that's fun.
And they went through several buyouts and several opt-ins. They were still around actually when you did exist. Sorry, Lucy, this is of a steal on your lifetime. But by the time you were 6, they were basically gone because of the rise of Netflix.
Netflix came out that early?
Oh yeah, Netflix was like 2000. See, Netflix had the idea of this was long before Netflix is the way it is now. When Netflix
Oh,
came
okay.
out, it was a hey, it'd be great if you just paid us and we mailed it to you, and then you mailed it back and we mailed you a new one. You'd pay for a subscription, and so you always had 2 movies at a time, and you would say, I want this one, and then you give a list of like 10 more movies, and you'll watch those 2 and send them back, and they'll send you the next 2 in your list. It was kind of a cool setup. Then around 2000, I want to say 2003 or 2004, they came up with well, probably before that, because I just remember when it really hit. But around that time is when you could get online and, oh my gosh, watch a movie.
Okay.
And it was just a thing. They had all these things you could watch, and they were all like low def and real simple because everybody back then was still in the squealy dial-up the world of everything. But it was getting so close, and it was about to happen. Blockbuster, from what I remember, they went through 2 or 3 buyouts because the original owners started off in Texas and they expanded really fast up to around 96 or somewhere in there, and Viacom bought them out about that time, 94 or 96.
And what did Viacom do?
Viacom was all about cable television.
Oh, okay.
They were about to buy, I want to say they were about to buy Paramount. There's so many corporate buyouts. That was when things were starting to conglomerate. That's when Disney started buying things up and everything was starting to get purchased.
Oh, okay.
Viacom was the one who bought them out, and then they were the ones who they passed on Netflix. And when they passed on Netflix, it pretty much tanked the company. I mean, it's a subjective thing, but basically, when Netflix came out, they had the simple idea of mailing people movies. And they didn't want to do that. It's like, that's stupid. Well, the mailing the movie thing is what made Netflix exist. And then once they made the online portion of it work, and people were, I think they only barely canceled the mailing system for Netflix, probably like a few
Whoa.
years ago. So you were still able to get the mail-in version of Netflix.
That's so weird.
I will say it's kind of nice. This is the one thing I missed for Blockbuster and Netflix when it was the mail-in. You got a treat. Like once a week, you'd go rent a movie, bring it home, get a pizza, pick up popcorn, and it was like a movie night. And I know that's hard to imagine because now everybody only watches full length series at once. Or whatever on the it's a Tuesday, so why not? But
Yeah.
it was an actual like thing. Like, oh my gosh, we rented this video and we're gonna have to watch it because we gotta do it. And this is where the genius or evilness of Blockbuster came into play. Because you're like, oh, I can rent this movie for $4. Fantastic. I get to watch a brand new movie for $4. As long as I remember to bring it back the next day. And of course, you never do. You forget
Ah.
you have it, and then they charge you $1 for every day that you have it. And you bring it back and drop it off and say you forgot about it for a week. And you go like, oh, it's movie night. I better pick up a new one. You go back and they're like, well, you didn't bring this back for 7 days. So you now owe us $7 and whatever new movie you're going to rent. So you wind up spending almost
Whoa.
$10, $12. That's a lot of money. It really adds up, especially if you have more than one movie.
Yeah.
I will say most people would just like rent one movie. It was one movie and everybody had to do it. So you had to live through that movie.
Okay.
No, it's just the way you did it. See, you're kind of living in the future now, where there's a TV in every room. Everybody has Netflix. You can watch it on your phone, for goodness sakes. And there's more than Netflix. Netflix is now in their waning years of problems and difficulties. But it was a time when, like, hey, everybody in this family, we're going to watch a movie, so let's come together and pick a movie. Nobody has to do that anymore. Nobody has to get along. They can all do their own thing, and nobody has to see anybody else at all ever. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it was kind of a unifying moment of, hey, we're all going to watch this. then it's a matter of how embarrassing the movie is or not.
What do you mean embarrassing?
Well, because there was movies that had, well, sex scenes and stuff that were your parents would like go, "Uh-oh, I didn't think about this before the 8-year-old started watching it." And that's when a
Ah.
lot of ratings became a big deal. There
Oh.
were shows that, what? Risky business? Tom Cruise, that wholesome young boy, is a pimp? I can't have my children watching this. I mean, it's just the things
That's fair.
people didn't understand, and the rating system still is arbitrary as ever. Of what the heck does rated R even mean? I don't know. Restricted for what? What is it your problem is with? It's kind of cool. There's a lot of cool moments. You can tell when you'd rent a movie, there's a good chance that you'd get a broken tape or something, and you'd take it back and get it fixed or get a free other rental or something.
Okay.
No, I think later on, toward the 90s, they started renting video games and they'd have music too in a lot of their stores. I think they bought some other franchise. I can't remember. Hollywood Video? No, Hollywood Video was their nemesis. Hollywood Video and Blockbuster were kind of rivals for a while. They were both doing about the same thing at about the same time. I they're both the same to me. So there's just a place to go, peruse and look for videos. When I worked there, we had 8,000 movies on the shelf. I made it a goal in my life at the time because I wanted to be able to instantly tell anybody who came in what that movie was about and why they should watch it or why they shouldn't. And I watched
Yeah.
logs in the system how many times when you have an account with Blockbuster, logs in the system how many times you rent and what they are. So I kept track of my rental logs because I got, I think, 5 free movies to rent at any one time, anytime I wanted, as long as they weren't new.
Okay.
And I watched 4,000 movies in the couple years that I worked for them.
Jeez.
I watched everything. Sometimes good, sometimes bad,
And
but
now
I would.
that's not relevant
Yeah, it's
anymore.
totally not relevant. It's the most useless amount of knowledge I have. But, I watched a lot of movies and that was fun. But now we live in the future, as we all know. So I guess what's your take? We had a lot of videos because by the time you were born, we started buying videos. Videos dropped from $50 to $70 or whatever they were to like $5 a piece or dollar a piece if you go to some place because nobody wanted VHS anymore.
Yeah.
But VHS was still a pretty prominent. It existed as far as a method of watching something, and you are probably one of the rare people from your generation that have seen and used a video cassette player.
Yeah, it was embarrassing in school because the teacher, like the subs, I think around middle school was when we started switching to, I think, DVD players in schools. And so I was the only kid in my class that would ever know how to run a VCR player or VHS player or whatever it is. And all the kids were like, "How do you know how to use this technology?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? You didn't grow up with this?"
Sorry, we ruined you that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you made me old.
Well, you're also heading in an era where kids won't know DVDs anymore. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I got really sad because for Halloween this year, me and Nakoa did The Emperor's New Groove, right? And none of the kids know any of the characters from that movie, but all the parents knew and got so excited, and I got really bummed.
Only old people like me now.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was like, "We're gonna be Kronk and Yzma," and all the kids came up to me and they're like, "What are you, a bird witch?" And I'm like, "What?"
A bird witch. Wow,
Oh,
is
it
Kronk
was
and
just
Yzma that old now? I guess. Yeah, that was probably
it is.
2004, 2003. It's a while back.
I mean, it's old for me, I guess, but like I figured parents would be showing their kids this timeless masterpiece. So funny. But yes, we are in the future now. We don't go to Blockbuster. We don't have to just I mean, I feel like we still decide on what movie or show to watch, but I think you spend more time scrolling through the movies rather than just walking the aisles. right?
Yeah, yeah. You used to
I
walk through the
mean,
aisles when you were a toddler. We didn't have a
yeah.
Blockbuster, but we did have a Hollywood Video close by. There, you have to have some kind of memory stuck in there somewhere of that.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like I do remember, but I think whenever you brought us into whatever it was, I think Riley and I would always go play. I think they had beanbag chairs,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they had like a
I think
kids
Riley and
area.
I just always ran straight for the beanbag chairs while you went and picked out a movie.
Yep, that was the job.
If I'm remembering.
No, that's.
Yeah.
I think you were probably three or four the last time we ever really went into one of those places.
Which, if I can remember that, I'm pretty awesome at remembering things. So, I don't know. Do you have memories when you were 3? Probably not.
I watched a lot of movies when I was a kid. That was probably one of the things I really found myself wanting to know more about because I'd watch these old movies. That television they would be these old black and white movies, and I couldn't understand. Like I was doing probably the same thing most kids do. Like, wow, when did everything in the world become color? Because I couldn't
Exactly.
figure it out.
Hmm.
Like everything in the past was all in black and white for some reason. I don't know why.
Life just got more exciting.
Oh, well, I guess. Yeah. Fun. It was a fun thing to go do. It's almost, I probably it has the same equivalent fun of going back to the old days when you would go to the theater and there was a show in between the movie. Like the movie would break up the first half and the second half. In the middle, they'd have like a live show with dancing girls and stuff. And, they'd have the news reports and things like that. Like it's a whole event. You would go for several hours to the movies. It wasn't just a
Yeah.
go watch a movie and you're done. I don't know if I really get the same feeling of browsing through everything on the web browsers, the like Hulu and Netflix and Disney and all those guys.
Hmm.
I don't get the same feeling as I did going through and I guess looking at the movies. I mean, it was just something about seeing that box and knowing, hey, this could be good with no concept of what it really is. It's on a lot of these streaming things, you can go in and watch the trailer, which is almost an instant kill for some movies. I think like I'm not gonna watch that. No,
Yeah.
this trailer did not send it to me, so there's no way. And then see with the box. When you pick up that box and just look at it like, hey, this might be really good, and I would watch a lot of bad movies on that premise alone.
Okay.
No, it's just that trust me. If you saw a trailer and it was terrible, like you could tell the movie quality was bad, they couldn't hire any good actors. It's just bad. You instantly go, I'm not going to watch this. This is a given.
Yeah.
And I think that probably hurts them more. But see, they're not selling you a movie; they're selling you a service. Like here's a bunch of movies. Most of it's crap. Some of it isn't. I don't know if that's good or bad. I really don't.
No, that's fair.
Do you prefer the streaming service or do you find yourself wistful to the days of video?
The days of video that I don't remember.
Well, I don't remember going to the grand cinema, but at the same time I'm wistful for it because it does seem like it was neat, like it was interesting. Not that I'm excited about smoking in the theater.
But dinner at the theater would be pretty cool.
That is true. And that would, I mean, there was just something about that whole like, hey, you know what we're going to do tonight? We're going to the movies. And it's a thing. Everything you do is just, it was like taking a plane ride. If you took a plane ride in
Yeah.
the old days, it was this, like, you had to dress up. You had to be all fancy. And like, does you see anybody dressed up when they're traveling now? It's like being on a Greyhound bus everywhere. And that's kind of the way movies are now. Like, whatever. I can wear my PJs. I have a dog. I don't care. Whatever. Let's just watch this. It loses some of the glamour, I guess. You were part of the glamour before, and now you're not so much.
I kind of think the opposite because I think people, quote unquote, dress up when they go to the movies because I know so many people will only choose to physically go to the movies if it's either a date or maybe like a family outing. So maybe the family outing's not so much, but I mean, most of the time when I go to the movies, I will specifically plan to dress up, quote unquote, like in pajamas. Like it's an event, like a
Well,
sleepover.
then my question is, when you watch a movie on a streaming service now, do you make an event out of it? I mean, you don't have to dress up, but do you like, hey, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna watch this, or is it like, I'm depressed, I need 2 hours to make me forget life?
Well, that depends. It depends on the movie or show that I'm watching. Like for instance, I know you and mom do this. You'll have like shows that you guys watch together. So like if you have shows that you watch together, I feel like you make more of a spectacle out of it rather than if you're just watching it for yourself.
Hmm.
Like Nakoa and I wanted to watch the new Spider-Man movie. And so we made it kind of like we're going to have dinner, we're going to do this, and we're going to sit down and watch it. But if we're throwing on a random TV show, like we'll just throw that on and it'll be in the background and we'll also be multitasking and scrolling on TikTok at the same time. So maybe it's just movie watching has lost its attention grabbiness.
Well, that's true. Well, you don't have to even watch movies as much anymore. I think that not specific when I say blockbusters, but blockbusters as the term movie, not
Yes.
Blockbuster the video chain, but blockbusters themselves are now these spectacles that you don't really have to watch to understand. I think that's really frustrating.
Mhm.
They weren't as impactful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think everybody was like, "Oh, Avengers Endgame, that was end all be all, top notch." Like it was good, but at the same time, it took them 10 years to get to that.
And they're still making more, you know?
Yeah, it's no Rocky. It doesn't have that whammy. Just oh my gosh, that is an amazing, well done movie. It's just like wow, that's a big blow up thing with a lot of stuff. Good.
You mean Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, or Creed 1, 2, and 3?
Well, technically, Rocky had a five, and there was Rocky Balboa. We all know to skip Rocky 5 and go straight from 4 to Rocky Balboa, but obviously you should all watch Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4 as they will impact your life.
Not the same movie at all, in any way
They are
whatsoever.
not, because as we all know, and spoilers, Rocky loses, Rocky wins, Rocky loses, Rocky wins. That's the formula. We know it.
Yeah. There's too many sequels. It just ruins everything, you know?
They kind of started making good movies, and then they figured, hey, we'll do them again. Because, that first time was good money, so we'll do it again. Make more money. Eh, anyway, but the video store is definitely a thing of the past. I really don't feel like you have the same experience using a streaming service anymore. Not quite.
Yeah. I mean I agree with that. I think that like I mean I wouldn't want to physically go to the store to the store to pick out a movie. I feel like people are getting lazier in that aspect of why would I go out to do something when I could just order it online,
True.
you know? Like running errands, too difficult. You can just order your groceries online and then go pick them up. You don't even have to go into the store anymore.
Yeah. You can just order food and they'll bring it to you.
Yeah. Well, I guess that only happens in the big cities, not in the boonies where you live.
Yeah, I know. But it happens. It exists.
Yeah.
I guess it's a different world. Anyway, so this has been what you missed when you didn't exist. And technically, you did exist for a little bit of this one, Lucy. Sorry.
I did.
And I guess we'll see you next time.
Yes. Bye.